Well, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully, you guys are having a better day than I am. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to break down some math concepts that I am working on a new book. So, I just basically just put a couple sample questions out here. We're going to be working these problems out. These are going to be questions that you are going to see on the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, the TEAS test, the HESI test, any kind of high school equivalency examination, and even college algebra. So if you are a person that is either going back to school or always had problems with algebra and they just need just a moment to have someone break these concepts down, this is the live for you. So as you guys are coming on in, hello Cecilia, welcome on in. Just go ahead and just sit back, relax, and we're going to actually do some math. So as promised, today is going to be working on rational functions. So rational functions, rational, basically fractions in a way, but a little twist to it with algebra. So do not feel intimidated. This is a safe space. If you're like, I don't know what this is, well, sit back, relax, and then let me teach it to you, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. So for the first example we have here, we just need to simplify. So we have 3x squared plus 6x, and it's being divided by 6x. So if you think you know what the answer is, go ahead and put it into the comments. If you're not sure, you could put a question mark there. There is nothing wrong and no shame in your game, okay? Because I know for some of us, we really haven't seen this in forever or haven't seen it at all. It all depends on how long or how often you're in school, okay? Were you freaked out in Mr. M's live? No, I'm never freaked out. I'm pissed off, but I'm never freaked out. All right, Isabel, thank you for the question mark. Okay, Wavy with the 1/2 x plus 1. All right. Eldorado is saying 3x squared. Yeah, but see, here's my thing, Justin. You are not my controller. I don't have to do anything that you say. So it's either you sit back, relax, and yeah, you told me to solve this. So this is when I basically like to say, F you, keep moving, and just leave me be. Thank you so much. All right, so we have Prim with the 3x squared. Sandy was saying 4x squared. VN is saying 4x squared. Rod is saying x plus 2. Colin with the 1/2 x plus 1. Okay, so then we have that. We have Connor with the x over 2 plus 1. You passed your GED? Oh, good, Queen E. Let's do a little celebration with Queen E. At least someone is having a wonderful moment. I appreciate you. Thank you. And the best thing that you could do, Queen E, is tell people that I'm doing this because I am not feeling in the right of rain. Maybe I'll explain myself in a moment, but I just wanted to get our math whistle wet before I go on to my little thing. All right. All right. Okay. Can I help you, please? It all depends on what you need help with. Hey, Queen Anne, how are you? Okay. 101. Good job. All right. Black History Month. Thank you. Yeah. I had a great encounter which had that. All right. So let's take a look. So since we're basically dividing, we have a binomial being divided by a monomial. So we can take this one of two ways. We can actually split it up. So we have our 3x squared over our 6x, and then we have our positive 6x over our 6x. So basically you're dividing all of the binomials by the monomial. So now I have 3 divided by 6. So 3 over 6, that's simply 1/2. So now we have x to the second divided by x. So if we have 2 x's in the numerator, 1 x in the denominator, remember when you're dividing, you're subtracting your exponents. So 2 minus 1 will give me 1x. Okay, so now we have our plus sign. So now we have 6x divided by 6x. So anything divided by itself is equivalent to 1. So this would be our solution. 1/2 x plus 1. All right. Good evening, good evening. Thanks, Lay. Thank you so much. Okay, how are we feeling about that? Now, for this one, how would you rate it? Okay, how would you rate it? Would you rate it a 1, like, mad easy, a 3? Okay, it had something in there. All right, I could see it easily in your book. Or a 5, yeah, definitely put that into your book. Okay, is x an exponent? No, x is a base, but if you do not see an exponent, it's always assumed to be a 1. Okay, soup guy, I think that's what it said. All right. Okay, so we got that. We got a 3. All right, we got a 3. Okay, yep, you could have factored it out as well. All right, awesome. All right, so roughly there's some 3s. Okay, I get that. Like that. All right, so here's another one, very similar. So we have 2x squared plus 4x divided by 4x. Okay. Could it also be written as x plus 1/2? No. No. Okay, because the 1/2 is not being added to the x. Okay, it's not being added to the x. So the 1/2 is attached to the x. That's multiplication right there. So it has to be your 1/2 x plus 1. Okay. You okay, Amy? Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, 2x squared. Okay. Okay, so x plus 1 all over 2. All right. So we have 2x squared. We have 2x squared. We have a couple 2x squares, a few 2x squares. Okay, so Wavy went the 1/2 x plus 1. That was from the last one. Yep, we already did that one. So you're saying the same answer, 1/2 x plus 1. All right, so 2x plus 2 over 2. All right, so let's see. So when we're taking a look at all this, if you want, we can split it up into their own because it's being divided by a monomial. Okay, so if anything, then you can reduce it. So then you have 2 over 4. Again, what the 2 and 4 have in common, it is 2. So 2 divided by 2 will give me my 1. 4 divided by 2 will be 2. So now we have our 1/2. So then we have x squared divided by x. So if we have 2 x's in the numerator, 1 x in the denominator, remember when you're dividing, you are subtracting your exponents. So that will give you an x left over. Now we have our plus sign, bring that down. So 4x divided by 4x, just like we said, anything divided by itself will be equivalent to 1. So yes, it is exactly the same answer that we got from last time, but just a little twist. Okay, can you just factor it? Yes. Yes, you can. Okay. Hey, Big G Money, how are you? All right, Bobby. You're saying like a 4, Bobby? All right, thank you. All right, so let's rate it. Let's see, what do you think? Like, do you think it's a 1? Meh, it's easy. Is it a 3 or is it a 4? Now, I just also want to emphasize that my platform, I'm looking at people around the ages of 25 and older, okay, that haven't been in school for a while. Math has always been a struggle from the very beginning, or especially from the very beginning once they saw algebra, okay? So usually I'm just here trying to basically build people's math confidence as well as give them some organization when it comes to solving things. So I try to keep it as simple as it can be, all right? So like roughly like a 3 and a 4, all right, I'll take that. All right, so with the simplifying, there's another realm to this. Okay, now we're getting with the solving. And I know some people are probably going to say, well, Audrey, is this on the GED? Yes, these are one of those 4-point questions that people keep skipping, and you wonder why you're not passing the GED, okay? And especially the ACCUPLACER, they definitely have questions like this. Some people call it the ACCUPLACER, some people call it PERT, okay? Any of those college prep examinations, we need to focus on these, okay? Not a problem. Good. Okay. Okay, I will in a moment. So, all right. So we're going to be breaking things down. So what do you think? Okay, 2x divided by x minus 3 equals 4. So we are going to solve. Okay, so I got some negative 6's. I got 6's. So we got Barbie with a negative 6, user 45 with a 6, Mihai with a 6, Anne's with a 6, Ella with a 6, Kat with a 6, Big with a 6, Sham with a 6, EM with negative 6, Lena with a 6, with 6. Okay, you meant to say 6. Okay, some people can do it one of 2 ways, and I love that. All right. So let me copy this down real quick because I'm going to show it one of 2 ways. The first way, a lot of people say, when you have a fraction equal a whole number, make that whole number into a fraction. So what you do is you have what's called a proportion. A ratio, which is a fraction, equal to a ratio, which is a fraction. So when you have an equal sign, you're going to do what's called cross multiplying. All right. So when I cross multiply, that means 2x times 1, that gives me 2x, because anything times 1 is itself, equals 4 times x minus 3. Because that means I'm multiplying the 4 to everything. I'm multiplying it to the x and to the 3. So that will give me my 4x minus 12 is equal to 2x. So I want to solve for x. So that means I need all my x's to be on one side and all my constants to be on the other. So in this case, we could subtract 4x on both sides. So that would, and I'm going to take it over here because I'm running out of room. So that will give me 2x minus 4x. So that will give me a negative 2x. So these 4x's will cancel, giving me a negative 12. So this is the problem. Because a lot of us, when we divide, we're going to divide by a negative 2. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So your answer is going to be a positive 6. Okay. All right. Okay. So we can do it that way. Or, I'm going to see if I can put it on the other side. So the original was 2x over x minus 3 equal 4. Or we can see that this is division. What's the inverse of division? Okay, put it in the chat. What's the inverse of division? AKA the opposite of division. Okay. Hello, Kiara. How are you? Good, Michaela. Good. So opposite, we got what is multiplication. Good job, guys. multiplication. So what we could do is we could multiply both sides by my denominator. Because when I multiply, those two will cancel out. And then I can drop down my 2x is equal, and then I have my 4x minus 12, which we got this part before after we did the cross multiplying. Okay, so this is just another way of getting. So we have to put all our x's on one side. So we're subtracting the 4x. So that's how you got your negative 2x is equal to negative 12. Divide both sides by negative 2. And a negative divided by a negative will give me a positive. And I'm going to tell you the truth. When you get into your answers, one of your answers is going to be a positive 6 and another one's going to be a negative 6. So we definitely need to get at least some of our process correct. Okay, so lost me at 4x minus 12. Okay, so you need to put your x's on one side of the equal sign. Okay, think of the equal sign as a barrier. Whatever you do on one side, you got to do on the other. So that means I need to move that 4x over to the 2x. So I have to do the opposite. So it was a positive 4x, so I had to do the negative 4x. So these two bad boys can cancel out. So now you got 2 minus 4, which gives you a negative 2. So in order for me to get x by itself, negative 2x, that means negative 2 times x. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we had to divide both sides by negative 2. Okay. All right. How come that I did 4x, not 2x? Well, I want to balance everything out, you know? I don't want to have one boob on one side and then flat chested on the other side. You want to be somewhat symmetrical. That's where my brain is. I'm so upset right now, but we'll get over it. Okay, so you always want to even it out. So if I subtract the 2x, there's nothing over here. Then I'm going to have to add the 12 over here, and then I'm going to have to do division. That's too much, right? You know, just even it out as best you can. Okay, all right. That wasn't funny, by the way. Well, that's the way my world is. If not, you can just go ahead and go. All right, so, oh, forgot. How would you rate it? What would you rate? Okay, you're so welcome. Okay. Okay, so how would you rate it? Okay, Justin with a 5, Brandon with a 2. Shams, thanks, not a problem. Change a negative to a positive when you're dividing on the other side. No, not with dividing, Laura. You only change it when you're adding or subtracting. Okay, you're only adding, subtracting. That's when you change signs, not when you're multiplying or dividing. More simpler to you, not a problem. Okay, at least you know you have options. Okay, way easier. See, this is what I'm seeing. Some people like the first option, some people like the second option, but no matter what, we need to achieve the goal, which is get your correct answer. Okay, we need to get that answer of 6. So I'm just showing you that there's more than one way of doing it. So you guys get that. Where did I get the 9 from? What 9? There's no 9s. There's a 4. So now people are coming after my handwriting. Great. Can watch this on my channel? Of course. Unless TikTok doesn't let me download it. And it did for a minute. Okay. All right. So I subtract the 9 from the 12. Where is it a 9? It's a 4. Okay. There's no 9 there. Okay, even on the other side, there's no 9s. There's only a 4. All right. Okay. It's 4. All right. Thank you. All right. So here is another one. So we have a binomial being divided by a binomial, and it's going to equal to 3. Do I do complex numbers? Yep, we did that yesterday. Okay. Okay. And I know, I love when people say, well, you're never going to use it. Well, you don't know what your life is going to entail. I had one of my former students going for a job to work in a nail salon, and they had her doing math problems as her interview process. Now, if you want to go into the military, guess what, boo-boo? You're going to have to pass that ASVAB, and the ASVAB, it takes you all the way up to this. This is why I'm doing this. I'm doing these things to help you guys. If you don't want the help, you can skip rocks. It's all right. It's perfectly fine. They're making you jump through all kinds of hoops, and I know that. And I know you can definitely do the job better than most people that are doing the jobs that have passed these things, but you don't have the credentials to do the job, to get paid for the job. So I'm trying to break that math barrier so you can get whatever job we can get. If we have a job, unless AI takes over everything, and then we'll all be in Schitt's Creek anyway. Huh? Agreements or no? Okay? We got this. Let's go. So I see 7.5s. I'm seeing 2.5s. I'm seeing 3.5s. Yep. I know. It's crazy. I know. Thank you, Nana, for reminding me that it is Sunday. Right now, I feel like God has given up on me, but we'll move on. All right. So we can do one of two ways, and I'm going to show you both ways, and you guys can figure it out. So first one, you have a fraction equal to a whole number. We can put it over 1. So now from here, we can do what's called cross multiplication. So we have x plus 1 times 1, which we all know anything times 1 is itself. The other cross multiplication is 3 times x minus 2. So now we're going to do our distribution. So 3 times x, and then 3 times negative 2. So this gives us 3x minus 3 times 2, which gives me 6. Bring down my x plus 1. So we want to get our x's on one side of the equal sign and our constants on the other. If you want to subtract your x, you can do that to put your x's on the right-hand side. That is perfectly fine, all right? Okay, so if you want to do that, and then you want to add your 6 on the other side so you can get your constants on the left-hand side, you can do that. All right, so we got those canceled out. We got those canceled out. So let me bring it over here because I'm running out of room. So now we got 1 plus 6, that gives us 7. And then we have 3x minus 1x, that gives us 2x. So since we want to get our x by itself, we need to get rid of the 2. So 2x is the same as saying 2 times x. The opposite of times is division. So what's left over is 7/2. And if you want it as a decimal point, the decimal point would be 3.5. Okay? One or the other. So that's going to be your answer. Now, for those that are using calculators, please, here we go. When you take the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, you cannot use a calculator. You cannot even bring a calculator into the facility. So don't think, oh, I'm going to be slick and just have it on my phone. They're going to have you turn your phones in. Okay? So you have to basically practice the way that you're going to test. So if you have to get yourselves back in line with multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting, and also working with your fractions, do that. Because if you struggle with those basic concepts, you're not going to pass the exams. Okay? All right. Okay. Okay. So here's my thing, Code. If anything, I'm perfectly fine with you promoting. You're trying to reach out for your stuff. Hey, I understand. But if anything, send me a message and ask if you can. Because I don't go on anyone else's platforms promoting my stuff. Okay? All right. Let's try to keep it kosher. Yep, you're in on that for SAT. Good. All right. All right. Yep, nothing allowed. Just your brain. How did I get that answer? Let's go. Okay. Great refresher. No problem. Thank you. All right, so if we had our x plus 1, then we had our x minus 2 equals 3. So one other way that we could do, instead of making them into proportions, you can take whatever your denominator is and multiply both sides by it. Reason why I do that is that means these two things can cancel out and I can get rid of that fraction form. So now I have x plus 1 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. If I distribute the 3 times x, that gives me 3x. 3 times negative 2, that gives me a negative 6. So we want to get our x's on one side. So if I subtract the x, I'll do it step by step so you can see it a little bit more. I'm saying that I want to put all my x's on the right-hand side. So 3x minus 1x, that gives me 2x. I can bring that minus 6 down. I can bring the positive 1 down. Now I need to put my constant on the other side because the goal is to get x by itself. 1 plus 6 gives me 7, and we have our 2x. So dividing both sides by 2. So now I have 7/2 is equal to x. If you want the decimal form, that means we have to do our division. How many 2's can go into 7? Well, 3 of them without going over, because 3 times 2 gives me 6. And 7 minus 6 will give me 1. If I add my decimal and add the 0, I can bring that 0 down. So now that 1 is a 10. So how many 2's can go into 10? Exactly 5. So that's how you can get your decimal form of 3.5. Okay, so either you can have your answer as a fraction or as a decimal. Okay, not a problem. Okay, when's this class going to end? I don't know. Thank you, Mercy, for the love and the understanding. Okay, you love math streams? Awesome. Okay. All right. So, now there's over 600 of us right here. So we have to, we just got started. Not really. You understand it better now? Okay, Laura, good. So, if anything, how would you rate this problem? Is it a 1, being super easy, 3, it's pretty challenging, but definitely can go through it, or 5, definitely put it in a book? Okay. About like 5, 6. Okay. Beta like a 1, lower like a 3. Time with solving by factoring. Oh yeah, you're gonna have some fun today. Okay, about like 3 out of 5. Okay, 1 to 3, 3 or 4. Okay. Okay, it's been 25 years since you've seen this. Well, this is rational functions. So it's usually seen in like Algebra 2. But it's definitely in the GED, the ASVAB, and the ACCUPLACER tests. Okay, something new for you. Hello, Jacinda. How are you? All right, good. Makes more deceptive. Okay. All right. So basically like a 3, 4. I will accept that. All right. So now let's step into this one. Okay, you're probably like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's okay. It's okay. Because they need a lot of that to see if you're ready to test out of college algebra. That's the reason why they put a lot of, and this is not even pre-calculus. This is Algebra 2. So they usually go up to Algebra 2 for their components, so they can see if you can test out of college algebra, or they're going to put you into college algebra. That's why they do it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Cover over pre-calculus, calculus. ACCUPLACER usually covers up to like Algebra 2, but with some calculus, because they wanted to see if you can test out of it. Okay. Put restrictions and factors. Okay. Yep. Help with physical science? No, I do not. Sorry, Marky. All right. Don't understand point of question. Yep. We're simplifying it. So we're going to have to, yes, break it up, aka we're going to have to factor. So we need to make sure that we understand how to factor. Now, if you do get kind of stuck on factoring, or if you think I'm just going way too fast for you and all that stuff, this is another option for you. See, I'm constantly giving out free stuff. Most people don't freaking do this, but I do. But what happens? Yeah, I get in trouble. Anyway, you can go here for YouTube. Here you go for here. And if you want to subscribe to that channel, I do have a lot of individual sections like factoring and adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, polynomials, anything that is going to be on the TEAS test, the HESI test, the GED, the ACCUPLACER, all of those things, okay? Not just like general, questions that have multiple choice. Sometimes I do some other things that really breaks things down. So you do have other options if you do need to do that. Oh, Hooked, you'll be so surprised what I can get dinged on here. But yeah, we got people that are stripping and all kinds of stuff on here. And that's perfectly fine. But anyway, okay. All right. Geez, we can't think through this. Okay. All right. So we got all that with the shares. Thank you so much. Yeah, with the YouTube and also the A, just mentioning the A, and it's all kinds of crazy. Okay. All right. So, easiest way, one, we got to take a look at our factoring. So, for the numerator, we have what's called the difference meaning subtraction, of squares. So the x is being raised to the second power, was called a square. And 9 is one of those lovely perfect squares, okay? So you got your 1, your 4, your 9, your 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, all that, okay? So now I can split this up into 2 radicals. Sorry, I can split this up into 2 parentheses. So my leading coefficient is a 1, so I can go ahead and split my x's. So now I said that 9 is a perfect square because there's a number multiplied by itself that will give me 9, which is 3 times 3. But it's a negative 9. That means one of my signs is going to be positive, the other sign is going to be negative. So we just factored the numerator. So now we're going to come down here in the denominator. So we have what's called a trinomial, but we can factor it. My leading coefficient is x, so I can, or 1, so I can split the x's. But now I got to think, what two numbers multiply will give me a 4 and added to give me a negative 4. Okay. What about the 4x? That's what we're working on now. Okay, so I'm seeing negative 2, negative 2. I'm seeing 2. I'm seeing negative 2, negative 2. With JK, I see negative 2 and 2. Okay, I'm seeing positive 2, negative 2. Okay, negative 2, negative 2 with Mike. Negative 2, positive 2, Wall 1. All right, so even if we break this down, two numbers multiplied to give me a positive 4. That'll be negative 2 and negative 2. Because negative 2 plus negative 2 will give me a negative 4, right? So that means we have a negative 2 here and a negative 2 here. But if we take a look at it, for my numerator and denominators, normally we try to see if we can cancel something out. So this one's a positive 3. Okay, we don't have any positive 3s down here. This is a minus 3. We don't have any minus 3s. We don't have anything that can actually break down. So this is going to be one of those, as they love to call it, okay? It cannot factor out. We could probably do some other fun stuff with it, have fun with it, but when it comes to simplifying, we can't break it down, okay? But one thing that we did do is, the question isn't wrong. The one thing that we did do is we practiced a little bit with our factoring, but we couldn't factor anything. We couldn't reduce anything. We couldn't cancel out anything. Okay? Did I see that coming? Yes, I did. Because I wrote these problems. You know, because a lot of people always keep thinking that, oh, I'm going to do this and it's always going to give me a nice, perfect number. It's going to give me a 3. It's going to give me a 7, maybe a negative 4 once in a while. But everybody thinks that when you see a fraction, you did something wrong. And the reason why you think that way, because you were trained that way when you were younger. Oh, you got a fraction, you did something wrong. No, fractions are numbers too. They need love just as much. Okay? All right, so we cannot factor it out. That is at its lowest term. All right, so what would you think? How would you rate it? 1, 2, or 1, 3, or 5? You can also do 2s and 4s as well. I never said that you could, but you can. All right. Okay. All right, so we got our 5s, got a 3, got a 1, got a 2, got a 5, a 3, 4. Okay. All right, we got a 5. All right, about a 5. All right, something a little challenging. Okay. All right, it's not simplified. I know, that's why it says prime. There you go, because you can't simplify it. Okay, see, Joe, plug in the numbers and solve. That is what some of the things that will screw a lot of you guys up. It doesn't say solve. It says simplify. Following the direction. I'm telling you, because some of you guys spend so much time, and remember, a lot of you guys didn't even pass the GED or the ASVAB or the ACCUPLACER because of the time restraint. Okay? I'm telling you, ASVAB, you are given 1 minute to solve each question. So if you need to know what a time search is, that's what you need to work on. Okay? That time factor is huge. Give them what they want. Okay? Give them what they want. Don't do any more. Don't do any less. Just give them what they want. All right. Here is a next one. All right. Yeah, that time thing is crazy. But see, it's a thing. Process elimination, when you kind of know what's going on and you can do the process of elimination, that will save you so much time. So now this one, this you can definitely see in the ASVAB and also the GED. The GED as a 4-point question, which you guys need. All right, so again, those 4-point questions is anything dealing with slope, anything dealing with the equation of the line, the y equals mx plus b, point slope. Also looking at system of equations, system of inequalities, absolute values when you're graphing them. Also volume and some forms of area and circumference if it's a circle. Okay, those are those 4-point questions that you cannot skip. Okay, you can't skip them. All right. Yes, we're going to have to factor it. Okay. All right, so you got a lot of these on the tab. Exactly. Okay, so what we need to do is we do need to factor. It's equal to 0. Because even if you put a 1 over it and you try to do cross multiplication, you can do that. But make life a little bit easier for yourself. So this numerator one, we need to factor. Okay? So we're saying x is -3. We're saying 5. We're saying not 2. Okay? We get to factor. We can do synthetic division. Let's see if we can factor it before you start jumping into like all kinds of crazy stuff. So if I try to factor this, I'm going to think what two numbers multiplied will give me a -10 and add together to give me 3. Okay? Which ones are we doing? What two numbers give me 3? Okay? Hey, Michael. So 5 and -2. All right? So we got a +5 and we have a -2. So if we factor these, my leading coefficients are 1, so I can go ahead and split my x's. I have a +5 on one side and a -2 on the other. Look what happened. We have an x minus 2 in the numerator, and we have an x minus 2 in the denominator. They can cancel out. So what's left is x plus 5 is equal to 0. So when we do that, I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. And now I got x is equal to -5. Okay. All right. So we're good. Right. True. I just want to get to this part. I want to see where everyone's is. Okay. All right. So yep. Because most of the time when we get like one answer and it's not going to be 2 because of the cancellation. So even if you plug in your -5 back into the original, -5 squared will give me 25 plus 15. So 25 plus 15, that's going to give me 10. And 10 plus 10, that's going to be 0. So irregardless, if I put the negative 5 here, that's going to give me a negative 7. So I've got 0 divided by negative 7. It's still going to give me a 0. Okay? So the 2 is not going to be one of your solutions. You guys are trying to do domain and all that stuff. I'm not doing that. It can't be 2 because x minus 2's were canceled out when I factored my numerator. Okay? All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, makes life a little bit easier. How would you rate it? 1 through 5. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? And then I got time for one more. Okay, some 3s. Now 1's got a 5s. Okay. The top thing with the 4 numbers. Sure, I'll do that again. Okay. All right. So to repeat, what was 3x minus 12? What I did. Okay. So to repeat with the factoring, since my leading coefficient was 1, I can go ahead and split my x's. So now I need to think of what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 10 and add together to give me my middle term of 3. So the only things that can give me 10 is like 1 and 10, 2 and 5, okay? But since we're looking at a negative, we know that one of these have to be negative. So obviously it's not going to be 10 and negative 1 because that gives me a 9. We're looking for a 3. So if I do 5 and negative 2, 5 plus negative 2, that gives me a 3. So that worked. So we're going to use these numbers to plug up here. You got plus 5 and a minus 2. That's how you factor a polynomial. Okay, that's how we factor a polynomial. So you're going to have to play around with factors in order for you to figure out what should go into each of the parentheses so we can have our products. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. And my last one for today is x squared plus x minus 12 over x squared minus 4. And we are simplifying. Okay, simplifying. Okay, you're welcome, Mateus. Yep, no equal sign. All we're doing is simplifying. Yes, Michael, yep, tomorrow's the 1-year anniversary. I was reflecting on that today. And it's just a quick reminder of how much of a loser I am. There we go. Okay. Okay. right. So if we go into factoring, let's see if anything cancels out. So leading coefficient is 1, so we split our x's. So now we need to think, what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 12 and add together to give me a positive 1? Because if we don't see a number, it's assumed that it's a 1 that's there. So now we have to think of factors of 12. So obviously you got 1 and 12, we got 2 and 6, we got 3 and 4. And in order for it to be negative, that means one of these is going to have to be negative. So if I add them together, it has to equal 1. And it seems like the only one that's going to happen is 3 and 4. But which one's going to carry the negative? It's going to be the 3. Because 4 plus negative 3 is the same as saying 4 minus 3, which gives me 1. So we have our minus 3 in one, and we have our 4 in the other. So that's going to be the factor of the numerator. But here in the denominator, we have another one of those difference of squares. So with the difference of squares, we split our x's, and the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 times 2 gives me 4. That's why it's perfect. But since it's a minus 4, that means one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So if I look at it, I have what's up here in red for my numerator, what's down here in green for the factor my denominator. And if you notice, I don't have anything to cancel out. Okay? So right now, since I can't really cancel out, and I'm just doing simplifying, I'm not solving, I'm not evaluating by substituting anything in, it's basically at its own rare form. Okay, even with all these factors, because I don't have anything that looks exactly the same that I can cancel out. So this is going to be another one of those primies. Okay, cannot be factored out anymore. Yep. Yep, so it cannot be factored. Yeah, let's not. Instead we did. Yeah. Okay, so it cannot be simplified. It cannot be broken down. Like it's at its own form. All right. Yep, that's it. So, oh, keep forgetting. How would you rate that question? I know, it feels kind of like, I did all this work just to get nothing. But believe it or not, some of those questions are out on all these assessments. Okay, so a 10, about a 2. Okay, like a 2 out of 5. All right, I got you. 2, I would say so. All right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's all right. I think I'm just in my feelings right now. No, I totally agree. This is like about a 2. Easy enough for somebody. Maybe a 3 if it's someone that hasn't done factoring. But, yeah. Just things that's going on around town with ice, and people are saying that ice is coming and all this stuff. It's not like, but yeah, I was tailed not too long ago, and I just got pissed off, and I don't know. Just going to the supermarket, coming home, and all of a sudden I see a black sedan on my tail. Couldn't see their lights. And wherever I went, they went. Wherever I stopped, they stopped. And then I got to a point where I was like, I am running out of gas. And I'm already going through so much that I just said, screw it. If they're going to screw with me, I'll try to keep it centered now. I'm not going to go down without a fight. So I got out of the car. I got my groceries. I couldn't see inside the vehicle because it wasn't tinted lights, no lights. It wasn't unmarked. I have no idea who they were. I put my blinkers on. I called the police, and the police said they were going to show up. I stayed up all night waiting for the police to come, and the police never showed up. So it's official. I am completely alone with life. And I'm just trying to be a good citizen. I'm just trying. And I sit here and I record my sessions. I write books to help people with their tests and make it more interactive. And no matter what, I'm always going to be a target. No matter how hard I work, no matter how many of these things I create. And I'm sorry to come on here like this. But again, I'm going to put the replay on here. And I will try to come on tomorrow if I can. I'm sorry, but I need to go.